YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video, man. HERBO just dropped strictly for my fans too. I made a beat for it in the style of the album, so let's get right into it. So when I was listening to the album, I heard a lot of different type of beats, but for the sake of this video, I'll lay down a dark beat since there were a couple of dark or hard songs on the album as well. So let's get right into the beat, man. I started out in 152 BPM in D sharp minor. So I'll put up the Noir Pure Bank and I got the Smooth and Deep preset. I laid this down right here. So yeah, the way I laid this down is I basically started out with a basic arpeggio. So let me take these top notes out and these root notes right here. So this is what I started out with, very repetitive, so it's not too complicated. Just by following the scale, make sure to use the half steps, the notes that are directly next to each other in the scale. Creates a lot of tension, like I explained in most of my videos. And I basically just got one little arpeggio just repeating over and over again. And I just played around with the velocities a lot to make it sound a little bit more natural, a little bit more realistic. And I also made sure that all the notes had a long tail to it to make it sound a little bit more full. So after I had that laid down, I laid down these root notes right here, just following the scale. Start out on the root note D sharp again right here. Then I went up to F sharp to add some variety to it. And later I changed the F sharp to A sharp right here. And these root notes add even more depth and some more emotion to it. So with the root notes sound like this. Up to F. Down to A right here. So yeah, like I said, just adds another layer to it. Next what I did is I copied it over 2 more times in the lower octaves to add some bass notes to it, to add some more low frequencies to the melody. And after that, I laid down this counter melody up top, not only to add another layer to it, but also to add some high frequencies to it, of course. That's what that sounds like. And the way I laid that down is I start out with this A sharp, so that's the top note of a D sharp minor chord. As you can see, the A sharp right there. So I basically got 3 of those in total in the first 4 bars. Then I just copied it straight over to the next 4 bars. Next I added this D sharp and this B at the end of every 4 bars. So it's the same right here. And I also added this little accent note right here, the A sharp. Now lastly, I added these little stabs to it. Really subtle, just some ear candy in the melody, but I just played around till something sounded cool. Alright, so for the effects on the piano, start out with the basic EQ, cutting the sub lows out, lowering some of the low mids, and boosting some of the high mids to kind of clear it up a little bit. Next, I wanted it to sound a little bit more vintage, so I went into RC20 and I got the Vinyl 3 preset, and I turned the wobble off because it didn't really sound good with this piano. After that, to add some ambience to it, I went and opened up Valhalla Vintage Verb with this preset right here. And then lastly, to cut some of the harsh frequencies out, I put one more EQ on the piano. Alright, so after the piano, I added this vocal chop. That's what that sounds like with the piano. Alright, so I got those vocal chops from Arcade, from the Distant Voices bank. I got the Waking Dreams preset right here. And yeah, this is what that sounded like without any effects on it. And it basically repeats one more time over here. But yeah, of course, the vocal chop that I ended up with had some effects on it. So yeah, start out with the basic EQ, kind of cleaning it up a little bit, cutting some of the harsh frequencies out. After the EQ, open up a fruity delay with this preset right here. Make sure to pan it out from left to right to add some more depth to it. And after the delay, opened up Valhalla Vintage Verb again with this preset right here. So next, I went into SRX Orchestra, and I got this string preset. That's what I laid down with the piano and the vocals. Just like this. So yeah, that's just a little accent that I added to it. I thought it sounded very cool, but it's very simple. So yeah, I started out with this melody here, just following the scale, starting out on the root note, D sharp. After that, I added the F to F sharp and F sharp to F again. The half notes, of course, to add more tension to it, directly next to each other in the scale, as you can see. And then I ended it out on the root note, D sharp again. And to add more high frequencies to it, I pitched it up an octave right on top of the melody. Next, I copied that straight over to the next 4 bars. So it's the exact same melody right here. And lastly, at the end of every 4 bars, I added 2 notes. So right here, I got the D sharp going to A sharp, And right here, I got G sharp going to F sharp. And of course, I put some effects on that as well. So I start out with the EQ, and I boosted some of the highs to add like a little bit more air to it, make it sound a little bit more fresh. After that, add the delay to it with this preset right here. And to blend it in with the other melodies we had, I got the same reverb preset, and I also added that to the strings. And for the ones who noticed, I automated the delay so that the delay only affects this part of the melody, so only these short stabs and not these notes at the end. Because I really liked how this sounded with the delay, but I didn't like how that part sounded with the delay. So I created this automation clip so it cuts out right before this part right here. So yeah, that's what that sounds like by itself. It ends right here. And in my opinion, that just sounded way better instead of this having a delay on it as well, because it would get very muddy. So yeah, that's why I automated it. Alright, so the next melody I added to it was this Celeste from Expand, I believe. Yeah, I got the Celeste preset. It's under Mallets, the first preset right here. And I only added that in the second part of each hook. So it's only 3 times throughout the whole beat. So yeah, I'm gonna play it first and then deconstruct it. So with the piano and the Celeste, sounds like this. So that just adds another layer to it, and it perfectly complements the piano as well. So yeah, of course I heard a lot of effects on that. So without the effects, it sounded like this at first. Very basic. Sounded cool as well, but with the effects, it sounds 10 times better. Probably my favorite part of this whole melody. But yeah, for the notes, I basically just made it sound like the piano a little bit, like made it sound similar to the piano. I didn't really introduce too many new notes. It just basically followed the notes that I had in the piano and just laid it out a little bit different. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same thing, just repeating over and over again. Just some notes pitched down, or I changed them up a little bit. But of course, the effects were the most important part of this melody, so I didn't really spend too much time laying this down, but I really spent some time on the effects to make it sound good that way. So yeah, for the effects on it, start out with the EQ again, cutting some of the harsh frequencies out and some of the sub lows, since you don't really hear them and you don't really need them. They can only clash with the 808 later on in the beat. So after the EQ, open up halftime. And I played around with this band at the bottom, so it only affects the high frequencies of the melody and it bypasses the low frequencies of the Celeste. Also played around with the sustain a little bit to make it sound a little bit more smooth, and I put it on 8 bars. So yeah, that's it for the halftime. Next, I opened up Shaper Box to pan it out from left to right. It just kind of makes it stand out a little bit from the other melodies, since it's playing from left to right and it's not in the middle, like the piano, for example. After that, I added a chorus to it, because in my opinion, choruses go really well on Celestes and other mallets or bells. So yeah, I got this chorus from Arturia. I believe it's a stock preset, or I clicked this button. I don't know what I did, but I didn't do too much to it. And then lastly, to blend in with other melodies, once again, I got a Valhalla Vintage Verb with this preset right here. So lastly, I wanted to add some more low end to it. So I got this bass one shot from a random one shot kit, and I just followed the root notes: D sharp, F sharp, D sharp, and then A sharp. So yeah, with the piano, it sounds like this. So yeah, basically all this does is it just adds some low end to the melody, and in my opinion it makes the melody sound way more full, since the whole frequency spectrum is being used. So we got low end here, and in the piano we got mids and high frequencies, and it just makes the sample sound way more full. As for the drums, of course, like always, all the drum sounds I used came from my Rookie Season drum kit right here. All the drum sounds you need to lay down hard drums. So if you haven't got a chance to get the kit yet, man, make sure to check it out. First link in description. And as some of y'all might have seen already, I'm working on a new drum kit right here. Also use some sounds of this kit. It's gonna be out soon, so make sure to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to the channel to stay notified when I actually drop this kit. So yeah, all the drums by itself without the melody sound like this. So how I laid that down, start out with the basic clap and a hi-hat from my drum kit, of course. Start out with the basic 2-step, but later added some rolls to it, so that's what that sounds like. So yeah, like I said, basic 2-step, but I added some rolls to it. So I got one at the end of the first bar right here, and I added a faster roll at the beginning of the third bar. And then in the middle of the fourth bar, I add this little 3rd step roll. think I used the 1/6 beat, and I just pitched that down one note to make it sound a little bit more unique. Next, I just copied it straight over, but I only switched up this roll at the end to make it sound less repetitive. Then of course I made sure to pan them out a little bit. So I got these two rolls which have one to the left and one pan to the right. Just add some more depth to it instead of it just being in the middle throughout the whole beat. And yeah, then I got these two bottom notes on the beginning of every 4 bars. I just think it sounds cool. So after the hi-hat and the clap, I laid down this 808 following the root notes, D sharp, then it goes up to F sharp, D sharp again, it's some up as you can see, and then I ended out on A sharp, just following the root notes, and what that sounds like. So I start out with these 3 notes right here on D sharp, the root note. Then I copied it over to the second part, exactly the same melody, but I pitched it up to F sharp because of course we're following the root notes. So yeah, I laid down these 2 notes right here. Next, I copied it over again to the 5th bar. So it's exactly the same 3 notes hitting again. And at the end, I switched it up a little bit. Got this accent note in low velocity right here. Just think it sounds cool because you don't really hear it too often. Next, I got 2 808s hitting right after each other. Same right here, but I pitched those up an octave. And also got this little accent note in low velocity right here, pitched up an octave. Then at the end, you got A sharp right here, but I pitched the last 3 notes up an octave. So this is what I had before. That sounded like. But I pitched it up an octave, and in my opinion, it sounds way better. So yeah, you got 1 note right here, and then I ended it out with 3 notes just hitting right after each other. Alright, so next, went into my drum kit again, got an open hat, and I laid down these 2 notes right here, which I copied over one more time. That's what that sounds like. I decided to keep these very simple because of course less is more. Yeah, it just sounded way better with the rest of the drums. So yeah, I just got 2 notes right here and right here. All right, next went into my drum kit again. Got this counter snare. That's what that sounds like. The way I laid that down is I got these 2 notes playing right here. Then I copied it over one more time, but I took out the first one. Then I copied that straight over once again. So it's exactly the same in the first 4 bars as in the last 4 bars. And at the end, what I like to do with snare rolls is matching with the 808. So we got the 1 note here and then 3 playing right next to each other, which is the same as the 808. This is down. It's exactly the same rhythm, but I just copied it over into the snare roll. It just makes the end of each, every 8 bars just hit a little bit harder. All right, so lastly, I added some percussion to it for my drum kit once again. Got these 3 sounds right here. And with the rest of the drums, that's what that sounds like. Alright, so that's how I make hard beats for HERBO's new album. So yeah, I want to thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all learned something from the video. Make sure to let me know in the comments what y'all trying to see next on the channel, like always. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the channel, stuff like that. We're this close on hitting 8K. So I appreciate y'all. We might have hit it already when this video comes out. But yeah, that's it for me today. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next video, man. Y'all stay safe.